Ladies and gentlemen, I have a guy here, somebody I would call one of my soldiers. We did a lot of battles together. I'll ask him to introduce himself and give me his background. I know him from home, from Mova. He's a Mova person. And I also watched some of his games from his schooling, and I saw his development. And what I saw up here when I came up here is exactly how he was developing home.
My name is Victor Alcantara, born and bred in Trinidad and Tobago. They call me the tall one, crazy horse, tall horse. Sometimes they call me the Trojan or the mad guy. Yeah, I was never mad. I was always happy and smiling, just like how I am right now. Well, in Trinidad, I used to go to Tranquil. It used to be an intermediate before, and then they changed to secondary. So at the time when they changed to secondary, colleges in Trinidad never used to have secondary schools in the intercol. But somehow that year, they had qualifying for secondary schools to get into the intercol. And we had a game. The year one might have been 1967 or before, around that time. We had a game with QRC on QRC grounds. And something happened, but we weren't treated fairly, and we had a few supporters. Most of the guys who were supporting us were from Woodbrook and St. James and Cocorite and some of the aligning areas, Caranage and Mova and all that. But something happened on QRC grounds, and altercation broke out. And we got kicked out instantly, disqualified, couldn't get back in. So something happened, and our teacher, well, one of the best teachers we have had, Roderick Warner. And another teacher by the name of Tony Watkins, who's now my friend and my cousin's friend, still living in Trinidad. But Roderick Warner decided, he used to be playing for a second division team in Providence in the POSFL League. And he was also a teacher. He decided that Tranquil, who wants to play soccer, come out to this, the Savannah and practice with Providence, not knowing that they had a meeting and they were forming the whole of POSFL, which is Port of Spain Football League, was starting a juvenile league, which they never had. So he told us about that, what we want to do. And then he says, well, it doesn't matter what you guys want to do because you guys are not getting into no intercol, you can't play no football. So what I'll do, I'll put you guys in as Providence juvenile team, which he did. At that time, we had players. Most of the guys were like, we well clicked friends. Like from Mova, we had Errol Sebro, Johnny Hislop, Sir Cliff Braffett, Dave Small, 4 of us, friends, plus myself. And we had from Woodbrook, I can't remember, was Vincent Benjamin, forget Camacho, I forget the Camacho guy's first name. Also Colin Stevens, who used to play for Charlie's Roots and all that. He was on the team, and there was a guy named Zoot. Up to this day, I can't remember Zoot's name, his real name, but Zoot, I know he was either from Cocorito or St. James, but he was one of the best left foot, best forward we ever had. And from Carnage, we had Bunny Stout, Fergus Julian, Bernard's younger brother, and our goalkeeper, Blood, Errol Joseph. Still today, my friend. Meet him every year, every time in Trinidad.
Did Rigby and Wiley and Benji played in your team?
Rigby and Wiley and Loney were on the B team. They won the
And Benji too?
and Benji. But we brought Benji up for his toughness in the midfield, how he used to play. And we brought Loney up and Rigsby up. We brought them up for certain games when we had to play certain teams, especially Sunday morning games, early, sometimes games used to start 9 o'clock Sunday morning in front of the grandstand. And that was hectic. Sometimes 12 o'clock game was the worst.
Well, what I should say, ladies and gentlemen, is he just showed you how this team was formed. People like me were on opposing end, struggling to get into certain teams. And I watched the team, as he said, because there's a lot of guys from our district move over. And this was a grease machine. They were playing in the PSFL against name teams like Malvern, Defense Regiment, you know, Maple, and I was at Maple. Which these are prestigious names, and here comes a no name. Providence wasn't one of the prestigious club or ranking clubs in the PSFL, but lo and behold, these guys came in under Providence and really clean up the league. So I'll give him the floor to find out how this was done. You know,
to the truth, the day I don't know how it was done. It's just that every game was like Mr. Warner was just say like they think we're not as good as they are because we're just a school team. We're not even a college, no upper college team like the other teams that have to be in intercol. So we were just tranquil intermediate, and we couldn't do certain things. Well, it brought out the best in us instead, because everyday practice, we go to practice. How we get no, we don't know. But at the same time, I can tell you how we used to get home. Later on Avenue, later on Road, Hilton Hotel, and we used to have a guy live around by you guys who used to be selling snow cone in Savannah when games are playing. And we used to wait for him, and he used to actually look out for us. So when he looking out for us, it's 5 of us heading up there. Myself, Errol Hebrew, Johnny Hislop, Zircliffe Braffett, and Dave Small.
ladies and gentlemen, he's just trying to make this look good. What we call it up there is hitchhiking. What we call it in Trinidad and Tobago is mop and drop. But it was a main forms of transportation, a legit way, but what we know it up here as hitchhiking, and that's how good people were in those days.
Those days, you understand? In those days, that's how it was. Because the longer way was a real long way.
Yeah.
Straight up down.
So you had that success with Tranquil.
Yes.
And you also had a little stint with Eaglets in Mova in your district now. So a short one, because that's when you disappear.
Yeah, because like how they used to put it, how can I put it? In those days, like my aunt sponsored me to come to Canada. And in those days, they give you a time, and you had to leave. So when they gave me the time, I just stretched the time exactly to the end. It was to the end, and that made me not come in summer to Canada, it made me come in the heights of winter, like 69. A long time.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the young guys within the organizations coming here to play football. So it's important that we hear exactly how he found it to be. So you do the Eaglets thing. How many? You didn't stay long with Eaglets, right?
No, I didn't stay long with Eaglets, and we weren't as good with Eaglets. Somehow, my standard of soccer wasn't enough for my own area, but out of my own area, it was big enough because we had to go for trials, and not only trials. We didn't only was called for trials. We called to be on the first 12 or first 16 players to train when I had training like Arvin Cornell and I think the guy name was Andrew Bartholomew and all that. And we used to train on King George V, which is now Mandela Park. We used to have to go down there to train every afternoon after school and find our way back home. And we used to train sometimes as long as light play ball. And half the time it's not only playing ball, it's just running and learning drills.
Yeah. So okay, so you come up with all this training now, victory under your belt, being the underdog from Providence.
Yep.
And you come in now, and I know you came into some older guys. Doing the history now, I realize you came into some older guys. How did that work for you, and who were those guys, and how that evolved into the team and the club you joined?
When I started playing in Canada, it was like football wasn't such a big sport, but for us West Indians and some English guys, football was it. Even guys I know from Poland, we all used to get together after school and just play a pickup game.
So wait, you went to school? You went to school when you came here then?
Yep, went to Parkdale College.
Okay, all right.
On Jameson Avenue. Okay. So we used to play we used to have a park, a school, a field, we played there. If we can't get to play the school field, where I used to live was nearby. We used to play in a school field, but it was just dirt, and then they changed it to asphalt, but we still playing. As I said, I think I told you, I'll tell somebody that the wall of the school, we used to make out to be a goal post, and we had no goalkeeper, but that was the goal. But we used to make it sometimes a little smaller. And you play like 5-a-side, like, because there's only one way we can go for the goal. So it was fun. And then my uncle, Rick Long, and my other uncle, call him the loved one, Winston Haywood. One day they said, there's some guys in them who just play down in St. James Town all the time. So I'm with Rick. We go down St. James Town, we hanging out. Next thing you know, we meet up Roland, Braffett, his brothers, Ron Reiner, Miles Sosa. All of these guys playing, and I think it was Rose Lawn Public School in the yard, and the yard is concrete, and we're playing there. So we played there for a while. Then we had some pickup games, other places that I can't remember. Then one day, Rick said, let's go behind a building named O'Hood Building. I know where that was. So it was Overley and Don Mills. So we go up there and practice is going on. I didn't know anything, feel wet. Clyde McNeil insisted I put on some boots and play. Love one insists, so I went and played. My friend, Anthony Lonia, we've been friends from school days, right? Because he played on the same team to Providence. He was on the opposite team with his uncle, I think it was Bobby Banfield. Yeah. And somehow I played him, and I played him too hard. And he got a sprained ankle. And all the guys are saying, man, you play like this all the time. I says, how else is it to play? He said, but it's just a practice. Why you have to play so hard? And then from that day, they just took me in. Because I think I was now being formed in, being put together and all that. And all these guys just took me like a little family member. Although I heard all the lonely ended up in crutches and all that time. You know, some crutches, the cast and all that. We still were friends. And friendship up to today.
So did you play in the reserve? And before that, seeing that you're there from the formation now, do you remember Tony Scarrett as the coach?
Yes, Tony Scarrett, Henry Convey, Alan Calanda, Dwight Day, Cliff Caracciolo, Shaki, all these guys, Alvin, I forget his last name, jeez, live in Miami now. Alvin, the amount I used to play with all these guys, Kelvin Arta, Rick was defense with me, and goalkeeper had changed from what's it called? Grantley came in after, but I think it was Clyde McNeil and all that. And so like me and Grantley's like, it was like My position was defense, and must nobody. I had it in the mindset that playing defense, nobody must hurt my goalkeeper, and if you hurt my forwards, nothing.
Yeah. So okay, you move up and so the TND. So you did the progression thing in the TND, winning the division.
Yes, because we used to play games when we joined TND. We used to play games in CNE. We used to have there was a field that is called Lansdowne Park.
Yes.
Somewhere on King Street, King and Niagara, somewhere down there. We play games down there, night games. Then they move us to St. Clair and they try to put us in such a 7 o'clock game, 7 o'clock game, 7 o'clock game, 7 early games, and the early games. But the more pressure they put on us, the better we got. And each time new people come up here from Trinidad or from any country, we used to try to tell them, come play, come practice. And if you're good enough, yeah.
Okay. So now you move up with the progression like everybody else said, and the Contrast Cup.
Contrast Cup was more, let's say, that was Al Hamilton and those guys. Was more a friendly game you go play. It wasn't like too competitive unless you play West Indies. If Iere playing West Indies, competitive. And then the other teams, they were good, but we were like just dominant. Iere was just dominant, and so was West Indies. So then we had Unity, Barbados, Antilles, and all these other teams. We were just West Indies and Iere was just the two most dominant teams. So somehow, at the end of all the qualifying, you used to end up with Iere and West Indies until West Indies, something happened with them, and I think it was Bobby Coombs, one of them, went and fall Real. And then
United, that's right.
And then they took Loney with them. They took some of our players, right? And then we had a game, and that was the first time West Indies was out of it, and we had to play most of our West Indies players and Iere players in another name, Real. And they beat us anyway. Real, because they took some of the best class players and King's College.
Yes.
Sunday, yes. King's College in the middle of University of Toronto.
Yeah, that's when Real lost to Unity in the final.
Yeah, you're right.
With the triple plane,
yep,
saving. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, that's the bulk of the Contrast Cup. Now within that time, the Contrast we developed the Iere tournament, which is huge international flavor.
The biggest. It was one of the biggest tournaments, and we used to look forward to that every May 2-4 weekend, or as they call it in Canada, Queen Victor, whatever vacation. We used to look forward for that. Everything was tough. Everybody was tough because Iere became like a family team. Iere was a family team. You understand? Because everybody know everybody. Doesn't matter if you come from St. Lucia. As another thing, after a while, your family used to come out and watch the games. You see your friends, everybody. So Iere tournament was like everybody knows. So by 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning, if it's Iere tournament, stadium is getting packed. As the day go along, it's not only packed, it's full.
Yeah. We used to have the little pressure as the players because they used to want us to open the tournament as the host, and that was a bit rough.
That was kind of hard.
Yeah.
We did it most of the time.
Yeah. So yeah, the Iere tournament. And then now within the Iere tournament, with that type of flavor you just mentioned there, then the Flemington League. You remember when it started? Did you play the Open
League from beginning? When we used to play down Oakwood College 8, that was pickup ball, and it's who started was Arthur Cato and
Bunny,
and I think Ronnie too. because them used to have the shop is sell clothes, and Arthur Cato was there with them, and they come together and they form that. And I think Ronnie them formed their own team.
Yeah, Ronnie was grassroots, grassheads.
Yes, and right, and Arthur formed his own team too, and then Chocolate City Wanderers and all this, and all we used to do is play pickup football in the back of Oakwood Collegiate. Then we moved from Oakwood Collegiate to where they have no frills and the
Battle sites. Battle sites.
Mike's there in the back of St. Mike's there.
Battle sites. That was the emergence of Sally.
Right.
With the volley goal.
And then afterwards, we just move up to Flemington Park. You know why we move up to Flemington Park? Because Iere used to practice every Saturday, and we used to practice every Thursday, and I think it was Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturday mornings. And every Saturday morning, Iere used to practice. So what happens, we used to be there all day, like from 9 o'clock in the morning till 12 o'clock at night. That's how it was. That's how I used to practice. From 9 o'clock.
Don't remind the ladies. Don't remind the ladies.
All day we in the park practicing. And then Flemington decides to move up because sometime on Sundays, I used to have a practice too. And then when I was practicing, the league came up, but we weren't part of the league yet. We just were Iere, and then we played pickup games against some of the other guys, right?
Well, hold on.
Came out.
we as in, because I played from day one.
Yes.
I played with players.
Right. Barney came out and decided to say, okay, we want to form a team of players, right?
Yeah.
And then what happened, most of the players, guys, were Iere guys. Them. And not only Iere, we bring in other players from like Lawrence, the goalkeeper. One time we had in other people. So Sundays became the place to be if Iere don't have a game.
But besides putting Iere on players, in interviewing Lawrence Glenn, the stopper, a week ago, he was told not to join Iere because Iere is a mover thing. So there's a mover element to the players.
To them, they had it in their head, but to tell you the truth, fact is, Bunny's from over. Most of the players, it was if you see a player's old team, especially the one with the blue and the red eye,
yeah.
I could count 5 family members or 6. I could name names. Rudolph, cousin. Eric, cousin. Trevor, cousin. Ian, cousin. 4 family members of mine. Pedro, my brother. Myself. My uncle. Winston Haywood. Rick Long, my uncle. You understand? And so you go then, you want to call him over? Alvin McGill. Mover. Johnny Hislop. Mover. You understand? So it was just that Sally, right?
Yeah.
It was just that we don't know how it happened, but it's just like we just cling to each other and we kept it real.
But that's the way everybody coming to Canada, and you know, although there's a stigma or perception, it doesn't really matter, because when we came here and we didn't see Black people, we gravitate to whether it be Guyanese, Jamaican, or whatever.
Yep.
So if you meet people from your neighborhood, it's even closer. So that perception could stay where it is. Now, what do you think about the league now? Once we got into the league now, obviously, ladies and gentlemen, you're hearing the closeness of the team from where we came in Trinidad and Tobago. So that's a bonus to begin with. And then we had the talent. So how you thought of the league and the flavor of the league and everything else, the teams and the competition?
It was one of the best, what you can say, Black-oriented soccer association for having players who could relate to each other without getting abused, because we used to be abused a lot. And once we got together and we played with each other, we became like a united front for like having soccer more recognized that we can get into play, because at one time, I can tell you a story. One time I left Iere. I went and practiced with two different teams, Monteleone and a team named Sora Lazio. They were high up in the, what they call the Premier Division at the time of TND.
Yeah, yeah.
And they invited a couple of us from Iere to come. Monteleone, I went with them, didn't like it. Went to Sora, liked it. The only problem with them was that when the game is finished, it was like, oh, just go get your bus or jump in your car and go home. That's it. You don't hear nothing else. So it was kind of like not relative to what I used to have with Iere. And for that reason, I left. Then I went and started playing with, I think it was a Chilean league, South American league. A team named Pichincha down, we used to play most of our games down Eglinton Flats, Kiel and Eglinton area. Either West Side Field or East Side Field. We used to play there. And I used to have Junior Paul. You know, once you have somebody else, you feel good. Like, me and another person went and practiced with Sora last year. We played with them. We never played no game. What we do was do the practice. But he was never on the field when I was on the field. If so, it's like, okay.
You think it was orchestrated that way, or it just happened that way?
Well, it just happened that way, maybe, but
still wasn't comfortable.
It wasn't comfortable. So we just made the flip back to Iere, and then my mindset changed to what we had to do to get winners and be a winning team altogether. Because at one time we all used to practice with the ball, and then something happened and somebody says, enough of this ball. We need to get fitter.
Yep.
Right? And then we start doing that fitness thing. We would go to practice, and I think times have changed to Junior Parker. I think him and I can't remember who else it was. Either him and Ken Martin or him and somebody else used to agree to that, because some wanted ball handling and all that. But if you can't handle the ball, then
you can't play. You can't play. So the only thing to do, if you gotta get fit.
You gotta get fit.
I got you.
Because we want the way we remember everybody working, or who's not working at home, right? You come from work, sometimes you finish work 5 o'clock, you have a game at 7. You gotta go. Sometimes you have to go practice. We go practice, all we do is play heats against each other and all that. But then comes 2 days later and you're panting for breath when you have a game. And that's supposed to happen. Well, that used to happen to me. I used to get frightened before every game. I used to have a chill in the stomach.
Yeah. So in the Iere situation, two things that stick out. The Consoles Cup, I need to know if you were there. Yep. And the almost undefeated season. So yep. The Consoles Cup came before. I think that was either 79.
Ken Martin was the coach.
Yeah.
Ken Martin was the coach. Burgess came over from West Indies.
Burgess was there already. Burgess came over since 78.
Before, yeah. And that what helped us a lot. She was one of the best midfielder in Ontario, I would say. Mark Nualo, Ronald, I can't remember all the guys that used to play, but on that Consoles Cup. We have Mangi. Mangi played. Carl Archer was there too as a manager. And
yeah, I'm seeing Carl Archer in the picture.
Yeah, and Eli.
Right.
Eli Ryan.
Stable bowler.
Yes.
Very stable. Now let me ask you now, because I miss that thing, as I say, as I tell everybody in the interviews. I had my in and out, but that's a glory time. How did you guys do that season, and is that you peaking to win the Consoles Cup, or how you look at that whole season? Because that Consoles Cup, I mean, that's the first major trophy that Iere won.
We were like playing some of the best soccer for every game. The only team used to give us trouble is the team we beat that night, Scarborough, Italia.
Okay.
Were
you in Premier then, or I think according to Loney, you could have been in first. Is that when you came back down, or?
Yeah, we were in Premier, and somehow we lost a bit and we came down. But then first division, we decided that we had to get back up there, and we just stayed playing top football. And as I say,
okay, I want to get this clear. We have the Consoles Cup, talking to Mangi and these guys, between, it has to be 80 because 79 you guys played with players, and I would have known that. So I would say it's 80. In 80, the question is, were you guys in first? Most people saying yes before you go up to Premier, or were you in Premier?
No, we were in first division. And then to get up to that game, we played a lot of games from a lot of teams from outside that we didn't know, like St. Catherine's, who would want to fight, spit, racial slurs, everything, and the referee wouldn't do anything. But we beat them to get to the point of the Consoles Cup. And then the only team we have to get by is the same team. Always used to be rainy night. Thunder showers came down. Mangi pulled it up.
I understand there's 2 Mangi crosses.
Yeah, 2 of them. Mangi pulled it up. Person couldn't handle the ball on the wet turf.
Yeah, and Mangi Power would do that.
Yeah. And we done for joy.
Yeah, heavy ground for it. That's why players like you stand.
And we get that much right up on the Toronto Sun. In the little small section, you might see Burtis, Mark. I think a picture of Burtis, Mark, and I hold up the Consoles Cup and just thanking Ken Martin and all that for winning it. And then right now, try to Google it. Can't even find that out.
This is why we're going bingo. This is why we're doing this exercise. You know, in another few weeks, you'll see a difference. So now you stayed around, and I met you in 84 as a teammate. I can't remember you being in there in 83. I'm not sure, because we came second in 80. Yes, you were there. We came second in 83. We promised promotion, and they did a reorg.
Right.
Now, you just mentioned the Italia situation, and I just reached the reorg now where we came second and we didn't go up. You mentioned about the abuse. It could be one of the above, or all of the above.
Well, to tell you the truth, at that time was English and Italians and some Irish used to be always on top in the managerial positions in the TND. Remember Ted Toombs?
Yeah.
Every time you have to go.
Okay. So that's we just want the public to understand, because you already come out and said, you know, what you deal with St. Catherine's and leaving teams and coming back to your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And you, in the same breath, you also mentioned abuse. And that's why you came back to Flemington. So just following, because the public has to be following this whole thing. So now, during that season, I don't know if you got, Lawrence Glenn said you weren't there early. The talk was that you were with trying out with a pro team or whatever.
Yep.
I can't remember when you came back in, to be honest with you, because that's in the defense, and we start riding a rhythm early. Where you came in, how you look at that season?
We were playing all the best, and everything was going good. And then I don't know what happened on that last game.
You were in New York. You were missing though.
Yeah, we had went to a tournament in New York, and we played in I can't remember which school was it, and I think it was Warren or some Archie or somebody just snapped my knee. We both went for a ball. I tried to just collect the ball, but the person went to kick the ball, send my knee out. So I was out of soccer for a while with those stretched ligaments.
There are certain dimensions in the game that West Indies players address me. Jimmy Lawson in his interview addressed. In the air, I think you were the tower in the air. Besides having a certain height, you're not overwhelmingly tall, but I think your defense, you're controlling that space going up and still making the height is a big thing. You actually make sure you have a space in with you normally command the space. Right? But what it is it from the Roderick Warner doctrine, and that this toughness, I don't know what Roderick Warner doctrine was.
Let them feel the presence, because if you don't, they're gonna run you over. So I used to let every forward feel my presence. So the next time, maybe you'd leave the ball for me.
You guys hearing it from him, right? I'm not answering it. You guys wanted to know, and I'm asking him, right, the questions. So again, we finished that season. When did you actually finish? You know, you were hinting early on that it could have been around the Ottawa Royals. You know, I still can't, as a person who have all the stats, these are the guys and they've been around me, that I don't know when they slip away.
Iere was getting the club mentality was moving away, and then there's tournaments coming up all over the place, and then we couldn't enter. But you took it upon yourself and decided we should enter, but we had to ask members Iere if we could do it with their name, and that's how we did it. I think the first one we did was Georgina up Sutton under Old Boys, and we won that. We won that tournament.
Yeah.
And then we decided when Ottawa came up, we decided to go to Ottawa. And we had team mentality because we still used to practice now and then, but as I say, TND was like not out there, and we didn't get in when by the time we finished our fresh players. Remember, like the little guy used to play Stuart Tomasas and all those guys.
Yeah.
Remember, that was the youngest, and then after that, what we gonna do? And then we went to Ottawa. We end up in a final with a team named Ottawa Royals.
Correct.
One of the best finals because the stadium, the arena. So hockey arena and cold. Hockey arena was packed, but we lost the final.
Yeah, and we kind of lost.
We didn't bow our heads because we know we.
Yeah, I think that was the Lyndon Hooper. That was the Lyndon Hooper.
Lyndon Hooper, that's the guy. He came out of his shell that day, and then next thing you know, he's playing for Canada.
Yeah, Lyndon Hooper had a field day. Yeah.
And then we came back. Well, after that, Iere sort of like we end up playing. What do you say? Sunday morning down on the back of Colonel Danforth.
Yeah.
That's how it was, and then we just sort of defunct.
Yeah.
But say other teams, like my upsetters, was still there. So I went in Mellow League. We used to play League Hawks.
Yes. You
we won that. Well, Mellow League upsetters was the team to beat all the time because we used to beat everybody, even Caribbean United, even if they had a team. Sometimes they didn't have because most of the players were now playing for upsetters.
And did you have a stint with We United too?
We United with Lion and Bertrand Brothers. We used to play in the back by where the SWAT team have the head office in the back, the Donors and Listeners, I think that's the area. We used to play all that Industrial League. We used to play with them all the time.
How did the team do?
We used to beat everybody too. Okay. Everybody we used to beat them. And then Upsetters came up with in Durham, in Ajax, and they went on formed 3 teams under 35, under 45, and under 50. And Lion and myself, Junior McNeely, all of us.
How recent is that? How recent?
That was almost 3-4 years ago.
That's recent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Junior McNeely, Lion, and we used to play in all the areas.
Okay.
And then it broke down now that they couldn't have so much teams, so we only call it the Old Timers League, Gem Old Timers League. The only reason we I stopped about 2 years ago. Well, they won the division and tournaments that they play and stuff. But because of COVID and all that, all that stuff. Because otherwise, that's my outlet now.
Well, that's really updated there. That's what I want to hear. Like it come right down where we have something still have a little bloodstream and have a little life. Did you go on the tour? It's 2 things we gotta cover now. Did you go on the tour to Trinidad with the Iere team?
No, I didn't.
Okay, and the next thing now is that this history is branching off into some musical era, having an intertwined with the musical era. And in doing Desmond Marcel, who was, if you listen to it, he was the foundation from Harlem and stuff. And I came in 72 and hit it hard from the beginning of 73 all the way. And you guys were it in terms of the party. Now, you were in DJ section with Ronald Austin called Soul Clan.
Yeah.
How you evolve in that? Because I didn't know you DJing home, right? So how you got? I know Soul Clan had a big array of records. That was their thing, going down to Buffalo and buying records. How you assess that whole music scene and how you got involved with Soul Clan?
I got involved because of Ronald and Victor. Victor was more the kind of engineer type. So he used to be always making sure you have speakers ready, mixer and everything ready and all that. And then I hanging out with Ronald, and sometimes we sit down by when we used to be up Mali. We used to be sitting down just playing records sometimes all day. So all day and making 8-track tapes.
I remember that. I remember going there and getting 8 tracks. Yes.
And then nighttime we used to have parties with 1348 was the place, Chocolate City, right? We call it Chocolate City, 1348 thing.
Yeah, but you actually, your Soul Clan could identify with a couple of places, the Web and Disco Labs.
And this is, well, Disco Labs, we did that.
Yeah.
And all myself and Victor.
Right.
We did that because there's a downstairs, up Trinidad, upstairs.
Yeah, that was a little coordination with Clyde McNeil.
Yeah.
And I think Martin was helping at that time too. Yeah, those are the 2, in my mind, the Web and Disco Labs was associated with Soul Clan. Right. And to me, yeah. So how you look at the DJ, how, I know it's music and it's how you want to portray it, to have the people moving and stuff and what makes you happy. But
it was more cultural.
but when you have to play with another DJ, let's say Soul Clan was playing with disco soul or ghetto soul, it's like, you know, you have to portray, you kind of know your niche in music.
You have to know. You have to know. Because I remember playing in remember Devonshire Hall? Devonshire Hall was down near Devonshire Place, just west of Blow and St. George somehow. It used to be part of UFT.
Yeah, yeah.
And it used to be a big hall just down on the main floor. And one Caribbean at a time, Suki and Desmond and Sultan playing. And those days was like everybody's looking for new sound, new sound, new sound. People just come from Trinidad. Everybody's looking for new sound, new sound, new sound. And I decided to put on one song. Take my little Torrance
That was your thing though.
table, pick the song out, and what song can I play? Sly and the Family Stone.
Yes,
Simple,
sure,
song,
yes.
simple song. And that time in Trinidad, if you live in Trinidad, simple song was a big thing, right?
It was.
And the whole security just remind me about this. The whole crowd, everybody was like, wow.
Yeah. So Tole, I want to thank you for giving me the time
No
and
problem.
the information. And this is a good start of getting, I wouldn't say the younger version because we all at that age now, but it's kind of younger version to the founders, right? And
Anytime, my brother.
all right, take care.